So Richard told us that we are in Manchester. So why are we in Manchester? First of all, we are expanding our European operation. We are, as you can see, the technology is here. So the challenge today is to have experts that really know how to develop applications. Why? While this hardware follows Moore's law, meaning that every 2 years it gets cheaper and better, to develop the content requires real, as we say in America, butts in the seats, sorry my English, but real people that have experience and can create real applications. So we are in the process of employing over 240 people in the coming 36 months. We are doing 3 things. We are starting with a technology platform that you'll be able to see next week if you come, which is an interactive digital center that contains, here you see maybe 5% of what we have. Everything from the big rooms to the pocket-sized environments. We're also setting up this school, as Sir Richard mentioned, that will train around 500 students in the next 60 months. Now, another question is why Manchester? In my mind, it's very simple. It's not only the fact that it's the original technology city. We all know that that's where the first computer was designed. But more important, it's the second largest creative cluster in Europe. And there is a very strong strategy from the city to make it a perfect place for digital companies like ours. It's also the home of UK's international internet exchange environment. So what we are doing basically, using Manchester as an international hub, is we are duplicating, and this is one reason I'm traveling extensively at the moment, this throughout different continents. Now, we were supposed to talk about real estate, so I want to talk a little bit about smart cities and the value of smart cities today. And I'll start with an example in South Korea that I had the pleasure to visit during this trip. And here's an example of a concrete project we are doing there. This is Busan, the city that we modeled entirely, but not now, 20, 30 years from now. So visitors can actually experience the city and all the details of the city in an iCube and so on, and how the city will look in the near future. Now, the idea is to kill 5 birds using one single stone. What do I mean by that? The first thing is they are using this for city planning, very similar to what you saw there with a mobile phone. They can hold their phone or iPad over a plan and see the buildings pop up. They're also using this for something they call the dream space, which is a whole area dedicated to see the future of the city. So all VIPs that are coming, they can see how the city will look like. They're also using it for iCube environments to be totally immersed, and most important, for tourist applications. So when you enter the city, you'll be able to download an app and be guided through different highlights. There's another smart city, perhaps the most ambitious one that I'm aware of at the moment is in New York. This is about, it's a bit more extensive, it's about taking a lot of data sources and basically consolidating them for various reasons, ranging from operational optimization to emergency management to emission monitoring, and visualize it in a way that's tangible for everybody. Now, this is not a small project. Just to give you an example, there's about $70 million per year dedicated to this, and over 430 master degree students. So it's a massive project. And during my trip the last 2 years, I've seen a lot of cities that are entering in this process. Again, it does require a lot of development resources to do it. Now, I told you in the beginning that our key value with what we provide is to transfer knowledge from my brain to your brain in a more frictionless way. The biggest application for that is education. Why? Every government around the world is in a knowledge race. Manchester is racing against Barcelona. Although you guys collaborate, it's about how we create this knowledge race. The same problem, especially here in Europe, our budgets are not increasing. They are decreasing. So we have to teach more with less. Now, how do we do that? It's not easy. A lot of people thought we will use online learning and that's going to work. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It's not interactive, it's not immersive, it's not engaging. So we believe that a big chunk of the problem can be solved using this type of technology. Why? It is interactive as a flight simulator. It is fun as a video game, and that's, by the way, the second problem with education. Education today is not fun enough. Kids have video games and other things. They come to school and they don't meet their expectation. But most important, it is cost effective as online learning. And best of all, it works. BBC published a large study on this that showed that students learning in a 3D classroom double their attention span, improve their test results with 86%. 86% improve it with 35% increase. So it's not a small increase. Now, the side effect, and this is not what we as a company are interested in, but it is still tangible, is that governments benefit from it. How? First of all, innovation. Our president in US had a challenge for the companies to create the educational software that is as compelling as the best video game and as effective as a personal tutor. That's what we've done. It does generate jobs and high-paid jobs. Our average charge for this project is $180 an hour. So it's a pretty big value creation that we do there. Competitive advantage, knowledge race, engage and motivate. So who's using this today? Here are some commercial customers that are using it. And more important, I'll share an example with you because the aviation industry always has been an innovator and a leader. Most of you are familiar with the Dreamliner 707, the one with bent wings that is now not allowed to fly. One thing that you may have not thought about is that they sold for billions of dollars the aircraft without having a single aircraft. So how do they do it? They take people in the iCube and they build it in front of their eyes, real time. Not only do they build it, but they can put people in it using our technology. So people have been in the aircraft, although it doesn't really exist. Now, in education, originally the big universities started to use it. But government also follows suit and support it. And the reason they do that is because it's the competitive advantage and everything I talked about earlier. So I'll only show you one example of such a national rollout, because that's what we aim to do in Manchester. And the example I'm going to show is Brazil. In 2009, we started with vocational training for the world's second largest organization in vocational training with 3.2 million students. Their problem is they had to double the number of students from 3 million to 7 million over a period of 5 years, but they didn't have the budget for it. So in this case, we used our technology to create virtual experience to take their online classes to this immersive environment. This became so popular that it brought the attention to the president of Brazil. This is Dilma. And we were lucky enough that she became a little bit of our champion. In her palace now, she requested 300 square meters of our technology to show it. And here you see her in an iCube similar to the one that you have the chance to experience during the days you are here. Now, this is an example of a national rollout. So we started with one center in one location. We are now duplicating it throughout every state. Every state, this project has an impact to 3.1 million students. It's a pretty big project. Now, we are here to talk about real estate. Another thing that you may know about Brazil is they are hosting both 2016 Summer Olympics and 2014 FIFA football. So when we were developing the educational solutions, we had a problem is how do we get the kids engaged? So we thought, why not football? So we signed a contract with Botafogo. Botafogo is one of the most modern football teams. And we started helping them first with games that they used in the stadium. Then we took the same environments and brought them to a tabletop environment to interact. And then when you buy a ticket at the game, you can see your favorite player. Actually, you can take him home. And more important, if you go to the mall, you can see the same application, take a picture with that person. Now, this is a way to get kids involved, awaken their curiosity for learning, and bring them to what we call an edutainment environment. Okay, I'll skip because of time what we're doing in Saudi Arabia, but that's another big country. But I will show the connection between real estate, edutainment, and generation of revenue. This is from a project that we involved in Saudi Arabia. This is actually a spherical iCube. So you take an elevator up here, and this is a platform. When you are inside there, reality ceases to exist. 16 to 18 projectors, 320 loudspeakers creates an experience that you literally actually get scared. So the same thing applies to cities, and this is something that I will encourage you to think about. So you can hold your mobile phone over the model of the city, and if you like something, it pops up on a 9-meter screen around you. And if you want to create experiences for many people, here in this case, you can see something that can engage 80 to 90 people at the same time. This is actually a library, believe it or not. It's a pretty big library. This is phase 1, this is phase 2. So money does help to fulfill dreams if you want them to. One thing that we are very engaged in is how do you link this back to real estate. I just came from Singapore. As you know, there are a lot of malls there, and they are becoming pretty boring. So they are wondering, how can we create an ambiance, an environment that's very interactive and immersive in these real estate spaces? So we thought, why not use virtual reality? So we created virtual fishes that are smart, that you can feed, in this case using virtual fish, that you can use your bare hands to do it, gesture-based. And if you're nice, they come and eat out to your hand. If you're not, they run away. So we started with very small aquariums, and then we increased the size to something like this. So this is a big aquarium that contains many dolphins. Again, the dolphins are smart, and you can interact with them. You can make them do tricks by just moving your hands. They come to you
Placing your cursor
to be
anywhere on
fed.
the screen will bring up the
They can
mother
even
and baby.
talk to you. We have a puppeteer behind you that come and lip syncs this virtual aquarium and makes him talk. Now, why on earth would we do this? What's the connection? The connection is linking things with learning, but also creating environments in real estate that mix virtual and real. And as a part of that, we are rolling out something we call Experience and Discovery Center. And this is what we're doing with it. So we are creating oceans that come to life, like you create interactive playgrounds. We are creating tunnels where you can have people running into these tunnels, believing that they are in an underwater reef. We are creating mixed reality environments, combining large eye cubes with something like this, where we have actually fish. These are real fish. But kids don't know which one is real or not. And they can actually they can take the app with your hand home and get pretty scared of it. And we are using underwater footage to do it. To do this, we team up with one of the most famous Hollywood teams that have 14 Emmy Awards and 5 Oscars. So here's the tunnel. You enter it. You think you're in a Jurassic arena, but in fact, and you can swear that this is 40 meters and that's 80 meters away, but in fact, you're not. You're all congested in this tunnel. An important thing with experiences is to connect the virtual and real. So as you work between the attraction here, you can hold their screens, and there's little dinosaurs that come to you and say, please feed me, take me home. So you hold your mobile phone, and now the dinosaur jumps into this. One benefit, you don't have to wait in line. So you play with it. So lines are boring when you go to. But more important, it creates a link between the physical experience and the virtual experience. It's a way to link and communicate. By the way, we do have the largest library of dinosaurs. Everything you've seen from walking with dinosaurs and so on is available here. In the interest of time, I'll skip the rest of the experience and go to the last slide. And the conclusion. And the conclusion is simple. When it comes to this technology, think big, start small, scale sustainably. And that's what we're doing in Manchester. How? We are now built the first step of this plan, which was to set up the hub and the entrepreneur school. Provide the technology and at the same time build the expertise. Step 2, enable a national rollout. We have within this center the ability to roll out 2,000 schools. Prove within Manchester the benefits and use this as a leverage to roll it out in Europe. 3, combine education and edutainment and link it with real estate by creating those experience and discovery centers. We want kids, because the first one is more of a top-down approach. The one with centers is more of a bottom-up approach. We want kids to come home and say, once they bought the tickets, Daddy, Daddy, why don't we have this at school? So that's our plans. And once again, I want to thank you here, both Sir Richard, Sir Howard, and all the colleagues that helped to make this possible. And I very much look forward to, I'm proud to call Manchester home, and I very much look forward to work with you guys and invite you 20 and 21st to Manchester to see it. Thank you so much.